All right, up next, we've got a pretty depressing topic out of Carolina. Matt Rhule was a terrible coach, apparently. Today, Tommy Tremble, if you don't know who that is the tight end that Carolina drafted in the third round a couple years ago out of Notre Dame, who has not really progressed at all, hasn't really produced at all for Carolina. He did an interview with the Charlotte Observer, and he had this to say about the previous regime. He says, this is the first time that we've really been coached up receiving wise, other than us trying to figure it out on our own. Tremble said in a phone interview with the Observer on Tuesday. This is really the first opportunity we've had to excel in the receiving game and have points and receive teaching points on how to attack this kind of leverage, attack this kind of defense. Before it was more you run what's on paper, and you try to make it work. And let me take this down real quick. And if it didn't work, you just try to figure it out yourself. Obviously, Matt Rhule is gone, along with almost his entire staff. They retained a couple of people. But let me ask you, Coach, do you think that for a player like Tommy Tremble, who hasn't really shown much on the field, how big of a difference do you think it would make, with that kind of an upgrade at coach? They have Frank Reich in there now. Do you think he could possibly go from what's kind of been a bust, kind of a dud of a pick, to a productive player?
My thing is, so is this a shot at Matt Rhule, or is it a shot at the position coach?
I think it's a shot at all of them.
That's what I'm saying, because in the NFL, the head coach normally coaches the coaches. He doesn't really have time to give you what that article indicates. Mm-hmm. The position coach has to give you those points. Matt Rhule doesn't have the time to give you the coaching points for the position. The position coach does. Mm-hmm. Now, from my knowledge, Matt Rhule is a system coach, and in college you can get away being a system coach. So I'm not saying Matt Rhule is not giving him a pass, mm-hmm. but I think that's a shot at whoever the position coach was.
I think that ultimately falls on the head coach, though, right?
It could. I just want to put both of them out there and not just say Matt Rhule. Whoever his position coach was, his name should have been in that too, and not just he shouldn't get a pass too, is what I'm saying.
Facts.
But Matt Rhule ultimately falls upon him because he's the head coach. So you're right too. But whoever the position coach was, he needs to be mentioned in the same sentence as Matt Rhule for both of them not doing their job.
Yeah, and he's going to get all the blame too, because he puts it on himself, right? Like, mm-hmm. I mean, he puts himself out there. He has that reputation now, and in large part because of him. Mm-hmm. He likes to throw players under the bus, and then players respond. Teddy Bridgewater been saying for 3 years that Matt Rhule doesn't know red zone offense, doesn't know 2-minute offense, and people thought he was being salty about it. He wasn't being salty. He was just telling you like it was, and then of course Matt Rhule gets fired. He's going on this whole tour trying to explain the situation and what happened and how basically it wasn't his fault. And really he had that team in a winning position. Like he's just, the slimiest of people you can think of. Right. So having a player come out now and say something like that, it's going to reflect back on Matt Rhule because of all those things in the past.
So what it's telling me is Matt Rhule can recruit and can't coach.
Yep.
Because in college, if you can recruit, you can win some games. If you can recruit. If I got the best Jimmys and Joes, I can beat some people.
Absolutely. You got any more thoughts on Matt Rhule, B?
Oh no, the caption says it. But even to Coach's point though, like, you can recruit and win in college. Like, you can do that in the NFL too. Like, there's been guys who just had teams that it takes a lot more talent. Mm-hmm. A lot more talent. But you can have kind of caretaker head coaches in the NFL as well. I don't know what Matt Rhule thought was going to happen with the all college staff that he put together that had no experience working with grown men and no NFL experience, but obviously it didn't work out. Actually, I do know what he thought, because he said it. He said that I thought I had 7 years to build it.
Also, I think
so no common sense over there.
I think he did what a lot of coaches coming from college straight into the NFL as a head coach do. they try to get a lot of younger guys that coming out of college, guys that they've coached before, because they think that they had that respect already built in. But a lot of times what happens is they realize that that player just isn't as talented because in the NFL as he was in college. And B, that player doesn't really respect you the way you thought he respected you. He just had to play by the rules because you controlled his career in college, right? So a lot of coaches coming straight from college to the NFL, not building any real relationships, because these are grown men. Like these aren't these aren't teenagers, right? And they're not kids. These are grown men, and it's a different culture. And it's just a lot of times those coaches don't understand that the first time in the league.